John, how strong is the squad going to be going to Alice?
Yeah, pretty strong squad. We're looking forward to everyone getting a really good hit out. So with the possible temperature there, we're a chance to have unlimited rotations, but we'll still work through how we want to use that to our advantage.
Who's going to play this week that didn't play?
I haven't really got to that point. I'm doing that today, but Beau Waters, we're keen for him to play if he's right to go. I think that might be about the only one, maybe.
Adam Selwyn?
Adam will be right, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Sherrod Wellingham said on stage...
Not Nico, sorry.
Sherrod Wellingham said on stage he probably missed the first couple of weeks. Is it a lot worse than first thought?
Yeah, well, you can see he's still in a boot, so it's not the normal sprained ankle. So the surgeon saw him on the weekend at our game, elected to leave the boot on for a longer period. So straight away, that's making it pretty tough. Means he won't have put any weight on that leg for about 3 weeks. So you would expect it would take another 3 weeks or so to really get him up and going, back ready to play. So that I would guess would take round 1 and maybe round 2 out of the equation, but it's hard to predict from here about what his program will be.
Not wanting to go back over it too much, but do you think he's hurting because of how it happened?
I think he's hurting because of how it happened. I suppose you hurt if you get injured on the field. You're always disappointed to know you're going to miss games. Can that be magnified if it's something that's happened off the field? I'm sure there's some regret or a fair bit of regret around. It didn't happen as part of the high-risk sport that I play.
Are trampolines now off limits completely for all West Coast teams?
Yeah, trampolines and even cushy carpets like this. We're telling them to be careful on. They've got a bit of rebound in them.
There's a lot of talk
tight pole.
strong depth this morning. Is that going to be tested early on already? You saw Andrew Embley go down the weekend?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a bit of a wait?
Yeah, absolutely. You would like to have what you call your best 22 out every week available, but that's very, very rare. So we're really happy with the squad we've got. Really think that we'll put a great team on the field.
How is Embley faring a few days on from the injury?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's not a bad hamstring. So taking into account that he's a little bit older, we always give him a little bit more leeway. So we certainly won't rush him, but with this sort of hamstring, I think he would be available to play next week if we had a game.
John, is Lafra likely to get another run this weekend?
Yes.
You must be happy with how he's going.
Yeah. If you'd watched him train through November and December, he's been flying. Even really in August and September last year, he was just looking super fit and keen to play. So add another full pre-season onto him, he's in great shape.
Where is Martin Koski at? How far on is he?
I can't really answer that. Nico's at the moment, he's had a couple of minor setbacks in terms of just pulling back his training load, but he could be back in full training next week, ready to play next week. He's not far away from actually being able to play, but what we need is for him just to get through 2 weeks non-stop, really.
John, your rotations, John, the 80 on the week. How did you cope with it?
Yep.
It's only a trial. What's your view? Everyone seems to have a view, and Metro said, "Suck it in, boys."
Yeah. I certainly read it the same as what Andrew said, which is it's been agreed. They say in principle that there will be a change next year to what the rotation system is, or the cap. So we're prepared for that. And me personally, I'm comfortable that it won't make too much difference, whatever it is.
Do you have a number? Have you done your sums on what would be an ideal number?
I'm just going to throw any number out there, guys. Just throw a number. 103. No, 80. I think in these games they're a little bit shorter. 80 worked pretty well on the weekend. The players just have to change mindset again from going absolute flat out for 6 or 7 minutes and coming off for rest, and knowing that maybe they've got to pace themselves a bit and stay out there like so many of the champions of the game did, for the entirety of their careers. The players will adjust and cope. There's no doubt about that.
Do you have to prepare them differently if there's a cap on rotations? Would you like to know, say, at the start of pre-season what it's going to be?
you'd like to know, just in terms of, we know a fair bit about our players. We already know which of our players will cope, or how they'll cope differently with rotations, rest, and there's players that are already priorities for having rest per quarter and other players that aren't high priority. So nothing will really change there. But as I said, everyone will adjust and cope.
Can I ask you about Darren Glass and what your plans for him this year? Ageing body, plays it hard and straight all the time. Is there something in place where he might not play as many away games? He might not do a lot of the travelling that he normally would? Are you going to look after him?
Yeah, we'll look after him as we do the whole squad. But obviously the oldest players are more higher priority in terms of looking at what's their best preparation to play their best footy throughout the course of an entire season. But there's nothing specifically there to say that he won't travel anymore or anything like that. At this stage, he gets the rest in the bye week with everyone else, and he'll have some lighter weeks on the training track. And our research shows that we can reduce their workload fairly substantially by monitoring their training loads.
John, one of the key messages you seem to deliver to the faithful in there was work smarter rather than harder. Can you go into explaining a little bit what you mean by that and what you've maybe done to get an edge on the pack in that regard?
Yeah, it's just assessing everything you do. Basically not just sitting back saying what we did last year and the year before was pretty good, gave us some really good results. It's looking at everything we've done and is there better ways? Are we missing something? Is there something we can add to improve the way we do things? So it certainly went across, as I said, all aspects of trading, recruiting. We knew the free agency was coming in, how we were going to deal with that, what we learned out of that, our training loads, what we've learned over the years, travelling, all those sort of things. So really go through everything and look for ways of becoming better.
Is there one particular area you think you can make a big improvement over, say, where you were at last year?
There's no one big massive area, and that's sometimes where it gets frustrating. There's not one glaring thing that we think we're doing really poorly, but we've certainly made some changes to a lot of areas that are only small things. Sometimes even the players wouldn't even realise we've adjusted things, but there's things that we've been doing in the pre-season that we think will make us better and smarter.
Just back on the rotations, it seems your coaching style seems like those one-on-one battles. By restricting rotations, does it create a better spectacle and does it kind of suit your style a bit?
I don't know if it creates... I'm not sure what sort of spectacle it's going to create, other than going back saying that in the era of players coming off when they're injured or making bad clangers, the good players were still the good players. They were still doing exciting, brilliant things. Go back and look at Peter Matera's highlights tape. He didn't come off the ground very often. He did some special things throughout the course of his career. So players will cope. The best players on the ground, I believe you will see or be able to assess the one-on-one matchups a lot more. So you'll see, the old Gary Pert on Tony Lockett, and you know that's going to happen a couple of times a year over 10 years, and they're exciting contests to look forward to. And the same, I've used the example I think before of Peter Matera on Peter Riccardi on a wing over long parts of their career. They were just great clashes.
So just in regards to that, you talked about taking a bloke off and using one of your interchange to put him on the phone to tell him something. Probably won't happen again because you've got to limit what you can do. Is that fair call? So the bloke makes a clanger, it's really the message you get from the runner and you can't really use up. Does that change their coaching philosophy and style?
Not really, no. We don't. We really take players off to tell them where they've made errors, other than if they're coming off anyway. Then we'll talk to them about something that's happened. So, in terms of having a cap on rotations, because we're now into an age of really enjoying the way the game's played, players on, off, go hard, maintain your intensity. It is more work for the coaches to work out how they want to do it. But that's it. We've got the time to do it.
You're calling for numbers in the box on the weekend. Were you saying what number were we up to?
I wasn't, no, but Warren Coford was in the box. He was counting himself. as well as just checking to make sure. And at one point someone said you've used 19. I think it was still 4 minutes to go. We only had one left, but then one of those had been the sub for Embley, so that wasn't counted. So we had 2 left, and it was. And if you had no interchanges left with 3 minutes to go, I was pretty confident no one was going to collapse on the field.
Is it a signs that you don't need? I mean, there's enough going on. I mean, surely is it just
Count at 20.
Eh?
Counting to 20 doesn't take up.
Of you in the box.
Yeah,
Someone
I
can do
know.
it.
It's only 2 people. We've got then 20 fingers. We can just sit there, just keep killing your fingers over with each one. And, yeah.
Is there a concern, though, in a cutthroat game, perhaps using up the rotations earlier and then having 5 minutes in the last quarter where players are more susceptible to hamstrings or cramping and things like that?
No, I don't buy into all that. No.
Players aren't worried about it?
Players, I think, will adjust. Yeah, they'll adjust. If players going flat out, knowing that they're coming off every 7 minutes, and they're going to be pretty tired if all of a sudden you tell them they've got to run for 15 minutes without a rest. But if they know they're going to run every week for 15-minute periods before they get their rest, they physically won't be able to go as fast. So you pace yourself. The good old days we used to say, haven't got my second win yet, and you've got to pace yourself to run out the game. They've done it in the past. If there is anything to say that there's that injuries are going to be blown out of the water because of this, then I'm sure that the AFL are using that data. I know they're using that data. So.
It's possible it could extend some careers, the bigger players maybe.
Yeah, there's some players who don't want to extend their careers.
What about expectations, John? You've been there about
Especially big guys. Oh, sorry, Snag. He looked up then, see?
the last couple of years. Do you welcome the pressure of expectations heading into another season?
Yeah, I do, yes. It's there every year. It's a different sort of pressure and expectation. So wherever you sit in this industry, whether you're a struggling team that everyone expects you to improve, there's a lot of pressure on to do that, knowing that your job's at stake. For me right now, I just want to see this group achieve to their potential. You can't pick what that potential is other than giving it a go, and we have to wait till the end of the season to see how good this squad can be, taking into account the challenges that we'll face throughout the year. So last year I thought the squad showed how strong it can be with the players we had out for the course of the year. We may end up having some players out for big periods of this year, we don't know, but we've got a squad that has got the potential to still achieve really highly.